All right, I think we're live. Hey there, posture guys and gals. Justin Archer here, aka the Posture Guy, your #1 source on pain, posture, and performance. And if you can, in the comment section, let me know if you're hearing me okay and if you can see the screen okay. Obviously, you're not going to see me right now. You're just going to see kind of a slide with the logo and some stuff. So let me know if you can see that. Also, just to let you know, if you've never been on a Google Hangout, there's usually a 30 to 60-second lag, so we'll just kind of have to deal with that as we go. All right. So if you have any questions, definitely put them in the comment section, and I will see them, and we'll eventually get to them. I've actually set out certain amounts of times throughout this Hangout to stop and answer some of the questions that many of you have already left, so thank you for that, by the way. I don't know if you hear the water in the background. That was my water app running, telling me I need to drink water, so I will. But anyways, yeah, leave the questions in the comment section below, and we're going to get going here in just a few minutes. We'll give a few minutes for any late stragglers to come on in. Also, too, curious if you can put in the comment section, where each of you are from. Some of you I know, some of you are clients of mine, friends of mine, but just be curious to know where you're from. As many of you know, my wife and I travel a lot, so we always like to find new places to travel, and it's always nice to go somewhere where, we know someone. So maybe we'll stop by and say hi. All right, cool. So looks like everybody can hear me all right. Awesome. Okay, play. This is, as I'm sure you can tell, my first Hangout, so bear with me here if there's some things I'm not quite sure on. And if any of you have ever done a Hangout, doesn't have to be on health or fitness or posture or any of that, maybe you can give me some notes, especially on the technical side. I like tech, but sometimes I'm not actually that techy, and this was kind of hard to figure out, but I think it's going to be really fun. I look forward to doing more of them in the future. All right. So like it says here, this is just kind of a hangout, with the Posture Guy, i.e. me. It's just going to be fun. The real goal here is just to get to know each other better. I do have a few slides to share with you today, but I want to get through those fast and get to my favorite portion, which is the Q&A. I want to help you guys as much as I can today, provide as much value for you. So I have a few slides. I'm going to try to get through them as fast as possible, and then get to answering your questions. All right. So if you haven't already, if you can like this video, share, subscribe if you haven't already, because that will simply help those that are looking for pain relief or to improve their posture or to optimize their performance. It'll help them through the Google and YouTube gods find this video easier and find some relief and benefit from it. All right. So with all that said, I just want to let you know that you're definitely in the right place if you're looking to get out of pain, improve your performance. Improve your posture and/or enhance your performance. Or if maybe you've tried to optimize your health, your wellness, your fitness, yourself in the past, but it just didn't work out for you. Or maybe you're trying to live a pain-free and active life without limitations now, but it's proving harder than you thought. So it doesn't really matter where you are on your journey of life. I have something here today that will definitely help you. So some of you, I know we each have a little bit different context. For those of you that know me, I am the owner and therapist of thepostureguy.com, your #1 source on pain, posture, and performance. I've been in the Making Bodies Better business for more than 12 years, and we'll go into a little bit of that later. And I've had the wonderful opportunity to work with thousands of people and help them find not only pain relief, but peace of mind too. And I'm also ballsy enough to wear a pink shirt today, which is an inside joke with some of my posture peeps, and you'll get to see it and me in a few minutes. So stay tuned for that. That's a bonus in of itself. That's even reason enough right there to turn out. And so basically what you're going to be learning, what we're going to be sharing with each other, and what you'll get out of hanging around is basically learn how your pain, posture, and performance correlate, how to start going about optimizing your breathing, hydration, sleep, nutrition, stress, movement, and exercise, which are basically, the foundations of your health. And pretty much anything else you want to know, just ask. And you definitely want to make sure to stick around to the end because I have a little something for you. I have, when I'm gone, the Posture Guy's kick butt list of self-optimization apps. And these are apps, they work mostly for iOS, but there are some that work for Android as well. So if you're not, an Apple fanboy like me, don't worry. I try to think of the Android people too. And these are some great apps. They've made a huge impact on my life. Like I wrote here, just to put in perspective the value of these apps. Really, I can sincerely say that if I had these tools at my disposal 12 years ago when I started my journey towards self-optimization, it would have saved me thousands of dollars and, more importantly, years of hard, unnecessary work. So, yeah, it's kind of a big deal. Now, just so you can kind of have a little bit more context of my background and where I come from, this is how I became the Posture Guy and how thepostureguy.com came to be. Basically, I've been in the health and fitness industry, the making bodies better world, for over 12 years now. My first job was working at a supplement store, a little mom and pop place called Think Vitamins off of Topanga and Ventura. They've now changed hands, I believe. But that was my first job. And the funny thing is I was signed up in high school for work experience, which I'm sure most of you know what that is, but you just get high school credit for having a job and reporting and that kind of thing. And it was 2 months into the semester and I didn't have a job yet, and I actually walked into this place where my dad had gotten supplements before and asked the owner if he needed any help. He asked if I was good with computers. I hesitantly said yes, and he asked if I can start tomorrow. I did. Started, basically just stocking shelves and everything, and then started working the sales floor, and then eventually ended up managing the place. And then I got into working out myself, became a personal trainer, did some amateur bodybuilding of my own. As you can tell from some of those photos, I'm not gifted of height. I'm only 5'8", but actually, believe it or not, I got as big as 235 pounds was my largest. I was still relatively lean, 235, about 12% body fat, and I would fluctuate in weights as most bodybuilders do. And that was, fun, and I really loved the discipline that came with bodybuilding, and I loved the lifestyle and all the things that I learned from it: health, nutrition, biomechanics, and just all that stuff. But unfortunately, when I was about 19, 20, I sustained a few injuries. Oh, excuse me. I think I made that slide go down. I sustained a few injuries, and one of them was a torn rotator cuff muscle, muscle called the stupendous, and basically, and I wasn't doing any one lift that I hurt it. It was just gradual wear and tear, but I couldn't lift my left arm above shoulder height. It would hurt tremendously. Even if I had my right arm and I helped it out, I just couldn't do it. And so I thought, okay, I'll lay off the upper body for a while. And so I just started working the lower body, and then I tore my medial meniscus and MCL, and I was in a soft knee brace, hobbling around all the time. And then I also developed some lower back and sciatic pain, surprise, surprise, on the left side. So I was just a wreck. And granted, you got to remember, I was only 19, almost 20. So, I was pretty bummed. I couldn't work out. I couldn't do the thing that I love, the things I love. I couldn't be active. And, it got me, pretty depressed, pretty down the ruts. And, so I started looking for, all these different ways, because I went to the doctors and they said, yeah, we can do surgery or shoot you with cortisone. And none of those things really made sense to me. And luckily, the surgeons that looked at me, I said, let me try some alternative stuff. If it doesn't work, I'll come back and have surgery. And they were supportive of that. So thank you to them. So I went out. I tried probably a good, I don't know, 24 different things, from chiropractor, active release techniques, massage therapy, acupressure, acupuncture. Oh gosh, the list goes on and on. Rehabilitative Pilates, prolotherapy, and again, just again and again and again. And then I heard about postural alignment therapy through an outfit named Agoscu in San Diego, or at least that's where they're based out of. And I found their website. Believe it or not, I was searching on a bodybuilding website called Testosterone Nation, and this other guy who had like the same symptoms as me said it worked for him. And I was like, all right, well let me check into that. And I looked on the website and I was like, okay, basically, talks about, if your body's not in proper alignment, it can't function properly. There's going to be uneven wear and tear on your joints and tendons and ligaments, and that's why you're going to have pain. And I thought, that's just simple enough that, yeah, it makes sense and sounds plausible. So I started doing some exercises, some postural corrective exercises out of a book. And within the first, I would say, hour and a half, my pain was relieved, I would say, about 50%. Now, granted, I wasn't pain-free, but, I could lift my arm about 3.5 inches higher than I could an hour and a half before. So I was like, wow, this is awesome. And and so I thought, okay, this is just from a book. What if I went and actually worked one-on-one with a therapist who could customize an exercise routine that's just for me? And so that's what I did. And I worked with a therapist for 2 months. And in 2 months, I got completely out of pain. And within 3 months, I was fully functional. Actually, even better than I was. Not only could I lift my arm above my head, I can actually do a handstand, granted with the assistance of a wall back then, but I could do a handstand, and I couldn't before. Even though I was big and muscular, I couldn't balance, I couldn't put my own body weight over my shoulders and support it. So that was pretty cool. The knee brace came off. I got back to walking and then jogging and then running and sprinting and everything, high impact. And so I was just absolutely thrilled. And as I was going through the process of getting out of pain, I saw other people around me, some the same age, some older, some younger, men, women, some people who are very active, some people who are very sedentary, coming, again, with various types of symptoms, getting better. And I was like, there's something to this. Like, I really want to learn so I could adopt this method into my practice. And so I went through a training program, learned about postural alignment therapy, and started using it with my personal training clients and had great success there. And then there was an opening actually at a new clinic that was opening in downtown San Diego. And so I applied there, got the job, moved from Woodland Hills, California, which is like a suburb of LA, to San Diego, and worked there for, oh gosh, what was it, 7-8 years, and absolutely loved it. I had just an amazing opportunity to learn as well as to work with a lot of amazing people, and I just absolutely love that time of my life. And San Diego, oh my God, what a beautiful place to live. We haven't been back there in a long time. As many of you know, we travel, and which kind of brings me to the next chapter of my life, which is my wife Anya, who you'll see there holding the flower. That was actually, I think, the first photo I ever took of her, and I'm actually pretty proud of that because I'm not usually a good photographer, and I actually took that one, and I think it's pretty nice. So we met there in San Diego, and slacklining, of all things, which if you don't know what slacklining is, it's like tightrope walking, except instead of a metal rope, you walk on a taut nylon strap. And you can see me doing some chain surfing there in the upper left photo, like I do from time to time. And so we met and started to date, and then got engaged, and then got married, as you can see by the photo in the lower right. And the reason I picked that out is just to show you how awesome my wife is, that she not only allowed but encouraged me to wear my Vibram 5-finger shoes to the wedding. It was actually something that I brought up once as a joke, and then when we were getting my suit and everything figured out for the wedding, I was like, okay, I need some shoes, and she's like, well, I thought you were wearing your your toe shoes, your five fingers, and it hadn't dawned on me. I'm like, oh, I was joking about that, but if she's serious, oh hell yeah, and she was serious, and so I actually wore them to the wedding, and I was the most comfortable groom I think ever. But I digress. So, oh, I think she just yelled hi from the other room, by the way. So we got married, and a little bit after we got married, unfortunately, her father passed away, and we decided we were going to go over to Europe to kind of help with her mom, kind of during that transitional period. And so we went over to Europe, but we didn't know how long we were going to be back. So we made a big lifestyle change, and sold a lot of our possessions and rented our place in San Diego out, and we went to Europe, and we've enjoyed traveling. My wife has traveled much more than I have, but I've definitely now got the travel bug, and that was, I believe, October 31st. Yeah, it was Halloween 2012 when we left San Diego, and we have been traveling indefinitely. And I would put more pictures up here if I could fit them. But as you can see, there's me doing a postural assessment on the Tower of Pisa, and actually the picture in the upper right there is Vancouver in the background. We're on Granville Island there, taking a selfie of us. And so yeah, we've been traveling indefinitely for quite some time now, and absolutely love it. Love the lifestyle. It's some people think, oh, you're so lucky, and there are challenges that come with it. It's not all glamorous and everything. And one of them was I really missed what I was doing back in San Diego. I love helping people in any way, but especially to optimize their health and wellness. Like, I just feel that's what I was put here on this earth to do, and it's my goal to help as many people as I can in my lifetime live pain-free and active lives without limitations. So I was like, okay, I kept finding myself going back to that, and so that's why I started the postureguide.com. Is I was like, okay, I love to travel, I love this lifestyle, but I also love helping people. How can I have my cake and eat it too, so to speak? And so that's why I started the postureguide.com, and that's why I'm here talking to you today. So in a nutshell, that's my story. So now that you kind of know me a little bit more, I really want to just jump into some Q&A. And actually, before we do that, because I'm going to switch over from the slides to some live video of me, the part that I mentioned before, the ballsy enough to wear a pink shirt, which you'll see in just a moment. The reason I say that is because a few people who long-term viewers, not a lot, but there's just a couple, and they may be watching, and so I did it for them. Is like, yeah, you're always wearing the same, maybe 3 or 4 shirts. I said, yeah, that's because we do travel. We've been traveling indefinitely. We literally live out of suitcases. I really like it because I'm more kind of minimalistic that way, and they're always clean. You can wash shirts, But yeah, people were like, yeah, we never see you in anything different. So I thought today I would not necessarily dress up, but just wear something different. So yeah, you'll see in a second. All right, so let's go to, I got to turn share screen off. Oops, that's switching around. All right. Let me know if you guys can see me now. Let me pop my collar here. All right. All right, so in the comments, I'm using this comment tracker thing that somewhat works. Let me know if you guys can see me in the comment section. And if you have any questions, definitely leave them in the comment section if you haven't already. All right. Wow, so show 32 new comments. Update automatically. You can tell I'm like just learning this. All right. Well, cool. Well, I'm going to start answering some questions, probably from the ones that were left earlier in the last few days. All right. So I'm going to start with the list keeps on moving, so this is good. I like to see a lot of people have a lot of questions. Let's do disable. Nice shirt. Thank you, Dallas. I believe it or not, I'm not going to pan down, but I actually have pink and purple board shorts to match. So, you got to coordinate. It's all about the ensemble. Anyways, so this first question or comment is from Becca. Is it Doucette or Doucette? I hope I'm not mispronouncing. I'm terrible with names, so if I am, I apologize. And Becca actually reached out to me a few days ago, and so we have a little bit more context with one another. So thank you, Becca, for these questions. She says, personally, I suffer from piriformis syndrome and therefore sciatic issues at times. From your experience, what are some of the best posture moves for that condition in general, besides not sitting? Well, definitely, movement is always going to trump exercise. So the way I always tell people, is that movement is to diet as supplements are to exercise. So, you want to pay attention more to your movement than your exercise, which it sounds like you are. You're, looking at, how not sitting too long and things like that. Posture-wise, things about piriformis syndrome. And for those of you who are going, well, what the heck is piriformis syndrome? The piriformis muscle is this little guy kind of in your buttocks region. And when it gets kind of angry, and like by that I mean it can be chronically tight, long, short, taut, whatever, it can hurt in that local area, right? Or it could actually impinge upon the sciatic nerve, and then you get sciatica, right? Like nerve pain down the leg, either on both sides, on one side, down the hip to the knee, so on and so forth. It can even go down all the way to the leg. It can present itself as tingling, numbing, burning, various sensations. So what I usually find posture-wise, some kind of common denominators to look out for, and I know Becca is actually a postural therapist as well, so yeah, go posture peeps. Several things to look out for is an imbalance in the hips, either one hip being higher than the other, or rotated, but usually one higher than the other. Also, an imbalance in the shoulders, again, one being higher than the other, or maybe like some type of scapular disparity where one shoulder blade is off than the other. And usually when you balance those out, then the piriformis syndrome really just, takes care of itself, really. So those would be the two places, I would look. Obviously, it's always easier if I have someone in front of me to, to look at and evaluate, since postural alignment therapy is a very visually based. But I get the question. You're looking for, kind of what are some common things to look out for, and then, movements to, movements to correct that. I'm trying to think. I think I actually did, and I don't know the link off the top of my head right now, but if you go to thepostureguide.com and search for hip, there'll be a routine on elevated hip, correcting postural deviations for elevated hip, and there's an exercise routine in there. So I'd probably point you towards that one, because people that have piriformis syndrome usually have an elevated hip. Now, Becca has kind of some follow-up ones, and she says, from a postural therapist point, I struggle with the difference between dysfunction and compensation. What are some tips to help with that? And that is an awesome question, and I'm just going over to the side to grab my bulletproof coffee, because I just want to flood my brain with ketones so I can answer this question to the best of my ability. All right? Okay. So, dysfunctions versus compensation. This is a good question, both from a posture therapist standpoint, but also from a client standpoint. And the difference is dysfunction go work from within out, and compensations will work from without in. So hopefully that makes sense, but I'll try to clarify. So compensations too are usually rotations, maybe like upper body torso rotation or pelvic rotation, and they're usually compensating for something that is dysfunctional in the body. So, for example, if let's say if here's your hips, right? Imagine, I know you can't see my hips. Let me pen down a little bit, but still you can't see them. But if here's my hip and my right hip's rotated forward, right? That would be a compensation. But if you put your hands on your head and pull your elbows back and that right hip comes back, well, then that tells you there, that functional test tells you that your hips are rotating, they're compensating for a dysfunction going on in the upper body. And you may do something like some standing arm circles to, test it out and see, like maybe one shoulder's higher than the other, and they do arm circles and it evens out. You go, okay, it's not dysfunction, it's a compensation. Granted, Becca, if you have any other questions, please let me know, because I know some of this may be going over the heads of some people who aren't therapists. But it's a very good question, and the reason you treat, which actually Becca later asked, and why does determining the difference between dysfunction and compensation so important if we address the whole body as a unit anyway? And that's because correcting dysfunctions, getting a body functional, is a lot easier when you treat the compensation first. You can, it doesn't have to say one has to come before the other, but yes, they do have to be done in an exercise routine. The reason I would suggest taking care of the compensations, like let's say if you're going to do 6 exercises, okay, and you did 3 to address the compensation and 3 exercises to address the dysfunction. The reason you would start with the 3 to do the compensation is because if you try to correct the dysfunction, all the muscles that are currently in compensating mode are going to take over. So you need to kind of quiet those compensating muscles so you can get to the dysfunctional muscles. A perfect example of this is, I was talking with a client the other night, and she may actually be on here, and when she squats or lunges or goes into an air bench, she has a tendency for her knees to drift inwards. And that's because instead of her hip flexors being functional, her adductors or her inner thigh muscles are compensating. And so they draw her knees in together. So for her, doing something that gets those to release or doesn't allow them to compensate while working on the dysfunction, which are hip flexors, is good. So it could be something as simple, which we did, is, okay, when you do an air bench, which if you're not familiar with, is just squatting against a wall with your hips at 90 degrees, is let's take a foam pillow or foam roll, put it between your knees, and that way give your inner thigh muscles that are compensating something to do while we go after the dysfunction, which is our hip stability in that hip flexion position. Okay, so that's probably about as much as I can explain now. But Becca, if you have any more questions on that, definitely reach out to me. I would love to talk to you more about that. But hopefully that clears things up. Dalius, awesome, my friend from Lithuania, who actually next week we're going to be. Not next week, sorry, the week after that, we're going to be flying to Gdansk, Poland, and I think he's going to be meeting us there, so that'll be awesome to see him, man. Can't wait. Asked how to get used to sleeping on your back. I only fall asleep once, I think I'm reading this right, once for an hour like that and felt better, but all the other times I just don't get sleepy and feel uncomfortable on the back of my head. All right, this is actually a question I've been getting a lot lately, and sorry if there's any clicking noise. I'll try to tap. And actually I had this conversation too last night. So, how to sleep comfortably on your back. And if you haven't seen some of the posts I've done on sleeping, go to thepostureguy.com. In the search area, just type in sleep, and there'll be, I think, two or three posts that'll go up on it. So first is you want to make sure that you're bringing the best aligned body to bed, because a lot of people don't think of sleep as an activity, right? They just think of it as sleep. But I go, you wouldn't go play soccer without some type of warm-up, whether it be stretching or dynamic movements or posture exercises. You do something, right? You'll go, yeah, yeah. I go, well, you want to do something to go to bed, because think about it, you're putting your body in a static position and asking it to hold that for 7 to 8 hours. Now, granted, you're not actively holding it, but still it's going to have an effect on your body, on your biomechanics. So, you know, I'll admit, I don't do this every night, but I would say 50–60% of the time, you know, I'll do 1 or 2 relaxing exercises or positions before I go to bed. Probably my favorite and kind of my go-to is 5 to 10 minutes of static back, just lying on your back with your legs up at 90 degrees and just kind of letting the rotation come out of your hips and your torso and just letting all the muscles relax. It's kind of like hitting reset on your posture. So that way you bring a better aligned body into bed with you. Because if you bring a body that's out of alignment, you're going to toss and turn trying to find some symmetry of balance, and that's why it's going to be uncomfortable. So that's number 1, is bringing the best aligned body with you into bed. And then number 2 is making sure to use the appropriate props to make it comfortable to sleep on your back. And what I mean by that is 1 or none pillows under your head, right? Because if there's too many pillows, you're going to be like this. And then 1 or 2, in some cases people need more, but usually for most people 1 or 2 pillows under your knees. And what that's going to do is help position your pelvis and your lower back in a more neutral position. If you lay down on a normal bed and you find within 1 or 2 minutes that you have to maybe bend one leg or kind of let one knee flare out, that's your body trying to correct an asymmetry to artificially even out that balance, okay? But if you elevate your legs enough, and again, like for me, it's 1 pillow. It used to be 2. For some people, I mean, the most I've ever seen someone use is 4, which is now you're almost kind of getting into a static back position in bed. But doing something like that not only will position your pelvis in a more neutral position, but it acts as a bolster so that if you go to swing your legs to go to your side, you're going to feel that pillow there, and you're going to, oh, no, it's there, and it's going to kind of cradle you. So that's what I would recommend for you know, for sleeping in the right position and staying there. Another thing, if you mentioned the head, if it feels like your head is off, I would definitely recommend something called the levator stretch sequence, which I don't believe I have posted anywhere on the site. It's a particular exercise, but Dallas, I will definitely send it to you, and I can show it to you when I see you in Gdansk. It's basically static back with a block under the head just to stretch out the levator muscles, and it feels absolutely amazing. So email me and remind me about that, and I'll get that off to you, okay? All right. Oh, hey, here's one from my mom. Hi, Mom. And she also needs help getting into deep sleep. I'm always moving my legs, and I can't get my head filled around a pillow. Okay, so part of that is already answered by Dallas's question. Now, getting into deep sleep. And, you know, this is something that I think is, you know, really important, almost more so than, you know, movement or exercise in terms of foundations of health and in terms of things that we need to prioritize to, you know, really to survive. Not just to survive, but to thrive. And so sleep, there's a lot of things that go into sleep, right? You know, and look at the things before it. How are you breathing, right? If you're breathing, you know, with your chest and your ribs and, you know, what's known as thoracic or clavicular breathing, where you're up here, that's more of a tense breathing. So one of the best things you can do is just slow down, breathe in and out through your nose, and what you want to do is close your mouth, put your tongue to basically the little I don't even know what the heck it's called, but it's basically where your teeth meet the skin on the inside of your mouth. And you don't have to press hard, just kind of lightly press there. And then breathe in through your nose, breathe out through your nose. But you want to use a 1:2 ratio of breathing, of inhale to exhale. So inhale, let's say 3 seconds, exhale 6. And what that's actually going to do is through your breathing and through I believe it's called the vagus nerve, from your brain to your lungs, and goes to other parts of your body, but it'll really help calm you and relax you. And you can use this for other times other than just going to sleep, but I actually do that, and literally I don't even know if I can get to 20 breaths. Sometimes it's not even 10 or 15, and it's like, boom, I go to sleep. And not only do I fall asleep faster, but I stay asleep and I sleep deeper. So that's breathing. Hydration. Are you drinking enough water throughout the day? And then obviously, do you, you don't want to drink too much right before you go to bed because then you're going to have to get up and it's to go to the bathroom, obviously. So are you drinking enough water? Ideally, you want to shoot for half your body weight in ounces of water, more if you're working out or you have a physical, uh, physical labor type of job. So we got breathing, hydration. Those are things. Really, the next most important one is sleep. After that, is nutrition. So are you consuming any foods on a regular basis? And by regular basis, I don't just mean daily, but weekly or even monthly that you're sensitive to. And those are things that we'll talk about later and in coming posts. Because if you are, they may be interfering with your sleep, both in quality in terms of deep sleep, how long you sleep. It could be actually causing pain, stress, things like that. And then, yeah, there's stress. And I know my mom just had a couple life changes, and she knows what I'm talking about, that unloaded a great deal of stress. I'm very, very happy for her, very proud of her, and I know she's going to be sleeping better due to that. So, moving on. Thank you, Mom, for the question, by the way. Oh, another one from Dallas. When I use my brain intensely, my pain gets stronger. Why is this happening? That's a good question. And, obviously, everything we do, starts neurologically, right? Even if you're doing exercises, there's a thought, an action, your brain has to trigger it, for it to happen. And there's been tons of studies that have shown that people who have past injuries, let's say whiplash, but they had it 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago, when they get stressed, because there's already that pathway between that injury where the whiplash is, they stress out, that now becomes their, where they hold their stress is because the pattern, the neurological pattern from pain site to basically their brain is already there. Yeah, maybe they wore one of those, the neck casts and everything for a while, and they got it off and think, oh, I feel better. But yeah, when they're thinking intensely or they're stressed or they're mad, it goes there. Or for some people, maybe it's in their lower back or the hip. So it could have to do with a past injury, and it could just have to do with a structural reason. So, people would always come in when I would see people, whether in person or online, and you can always see structurally wherever someone's off, that's where they just so coincidentally happen to hold their stress. So you may see someone, and yeah, their shoulders aren't the best, but they're pretty good. But their right hip is like 1.5 inches, 2 inches higher than the other, and they go, I hold my stress in, I go, let me guess, your lower back, right side? And they go, yeah, how do you know? And it's like, because it's way up here and it's crunched up like an accordion. There's a structural reason why you're having that pain. The stress just exacerbates it because, again, now you go from thinking hard, stressed out about something, to that site, and for that person, this theoretical person, it happens to be their lower back. So, that's what I think is going on. All right, here's a question from Nate. Hey Justin, with all your knowledge and experience of being a postural therapist, do you think it's possible to develop a way to make it so doing a routine is like a magic bullet every time? If not, why isn't this possible? Good question. Man, I really, really wish there was, and I know we all want it, right? We always want the magic bullet or the guarantee that if I do A, B is going to happen. And I would like to tell you there is, but that would be a lie. And that's simply because the human body is organic, right? One little fun fact that I find interesting is every 11 months we don't have every single cell has been replaced by a new one, which to me just struck me as odd because we celebrate birthdays every 12 months when I'm like, well, we're a new person, a completely different person every 11 months. These are the things I think of. But anyways, so our bodies are organic. They're always changing, not just on a cellular level, but month to month, month to month, week to week, day to day, and even hour to hour, minute by minute. you know? So our bodies are stimulus reacting organisms, and they don't have any prejudice against any stimulus. So you might do an exercise routine, right? And you may do it and go, wow, yeah, I feel better. Great. And you might even see, like, take before pictures and then take after and look and go, awesome, like, yeah, my posture's better. But if I said, hey, hop in the car with me and we're going to drive from LA to Vegas, which depending on traffic could be probably 4 to 6.5 hours, and we get out of the car to check into the hotel and everything, your body has already responded to that 4 to 6.5 hour car ride. And not only will you feel it, right? You'll get up and be like, oh man, my legs or my butt or my back or whatever, but you'll actually be able to see it. If we took before pictures of you doing the exercises, after pictures of you doing the exercises, and then pictures of you when you got out of the car, you would see a difference in the same day. Now, that's not to say that's a one-to-one correlation. For every minute of poor movement you do, you have to do, say, a minute of exercise, but it's balances. And that's why I tell people is don't get too caught up on perfection. Think about what can you do to improve and be resilient. If you look back at some of the old video posts, and actually not even old, like within the last few weeks, you'll see there's times when my posture is like really, really good, and there's times when one shoulder's a little higher than a little rolled forward, and that's simply because maybe I was working late or a lot the previous day on my computer, like this, or something like that. I'm not perfect, and my body's no different than yours. It's going to respond to stimulus, good or bad. So again, it's, I go through that too. Sometimes my posture is spot on. Other times, it's not so good. But the cool thing is because I've worked towards optimizing my breathing, hydration, sleep, nutrition, stress, movement, and then topping it off with exercise. Whereas years ago, it might take me 45, 60 minutes of exercise to correct my posture. Now it's, I can do maybe 10, 15 minutes and get back to where I want and get on with my life. So, yeah, it's always an adaptive thing. We're all works in progress, Nate. So, sorry, I wish I can give you a magic bullet. That would be awesome. And when I do, you won't maybe be the first to know, but maybe the second or third. I'll keep in mind, all right? Let's see. Oh, and Nate had one similar to, I think, Becca, I still don't understand how you can tell the difference between compensation and dysfunction. If someone has an elevated right hip and an elevated shoulder, how can you tell which one is the problem? And this kind of goes back to what I was talking about with Becca is, yes, we are going to treat both the compensation and the dysfunction. If you want to tell which one was which, that's where functional tests really come in handy. And functional tests could really be any movement. But, there's particular ones that I like to use. It's honestly getting, that's kind of like getting really into the almost like a therapist training session. Not that I wouldn't be willing to talk to you guys more about that, but that right there could be like literally just 4 or 5 hour lesson, and it's something that's learned over weeks, months, and years. There's still new ones that I'm learning all the time to test. Which is a dysfunction, which is a compensation, what's long, what's tight, what's short, what's loose, what's dysfunction, all that stuff. So it's a little bit outside the scope, I think, of this routine, or I'm sorry, of this hangout, but definitely email me about it, and maybe we can hop on Skype or something and talk about it more. But I know I would just go until 11:30 on that one. So let's see. Oh, but Nate also has another one that's good. Are muscles more likely to be strained/torn when you have bad posture? Yes. That's exactly what happened to me when I was bodybuilding. Not because I was doing any wrong lifts and I was using good form. It was simply, one, I didn't know any better. I was taking a body that was out of alignment and then asking it to, push, pull, and basically lift weights. I was strengthening before I straighten. And that's why I always recommend people to straighten before they strengthen. Because if your body's out of alignment, right, you're leaning to one side, you're like this, and then you get under to do some shoulder press or some bench press, well, yeah, you're strengthening your muscles, but you're just strengthening this more, right? And you can't see my lower body. You can kind of tell it's like I'm almost kind of going into a scoliosis. Well, you're just going to be strengthening that scoliosis, straighten the body, and then once you get it into proper alignment, and it doesn't have to be perfect, but get it 80% of the way there, and then start doing some maybe some resistance training and things like that. Because yeah, take it from me, I've been there, I've done that, and it sucks to try it the other way around. T Jory 1. I think I'm saying that right. Let's see. I've got a lateral pelvic tilt. Get out of here, bug. I've got a lateral pelvic tilt, and my physician advised me to use insoles instead of exercise. The insoles should also correct my posture, but what is your thought about it? Am I wasting my time? So insoles, are usually, whether it be, 2 insoles or 1 with like a lift, are regularly prescribed to, trying to get some better light here, are regularly prescribed for an imbalance, a hip elevation or hip depression or lateral pelvic tilt. It goes by several names, to correct that. And could the insole help? Yes, but what I would suggest is finding out, is it a structural leg length disparity or pelvic tilt, or is it functional? And by that I mean, is it literally something that a bone deformity, a birth defect? And usually it's not. I mean, don't get me wrong, they do happen, and I have seen people with them, but they're usually things that are documented at birth. It's like, here's, when you're born, they give you to your parents, here's your kid, here's a birth certificate, and then here's like, they have measurements of like all their appendages and stuff like that, and so you would have known about this from a young age. Now if you were, then yes, that's a structural, and definitely you're going to want to use a lift or an insole of some type. But that's really, I would say 10% of the time or less, maybe even 5%. It is rare. It's out there, but it's rare. What it usually is a functional impairment or disparity, and it can usually be corrected. Now, sometimes it's by an imbalance of muscles in the hips, others it's from an imbalance in the upper body. A really easy way to tell is if you look at yourself in the mirror, look at your hips, and if one's higher than the other, if you put your hands on your head, pull your elbows back, and they even out, well, that tells you right there that it's functional. And the reason you have that lateral pelvic tilt is because you have an imbalance in your upper body. Right? So you need to work on restoring balance and function to your upper back. Maybe you notice, I'm a little bit here, and maybe this arm's a little bit rotated forward. And when you work on balancing that out, as a result of that, your hips even out. Because granted, you can't walk around like this, all the time. Maybe if you're from LA, but but you can't walk around like that. So I would suggest working on the upper body. Now, if you go into, say, a frog position, just on your back, feet together, knees dropped out, and the knees drop out unevenly, then that could also mean that you have a muscular imbalance, maybe in your glutes or your hips, and you would also want to restore balance there. So, so those are a couple places I would look. Also, if you try, I don't know if you know the exercise, sitting assisted hip lift, where you basically sit on a chair, kind of like a guy does, cross the leg over, sit up tall, and push the knee down towards the floor, you should feel a stretch in your kind of hip and buttocks region. And then do the same thing on the other side and ask yourself, does one side feel tighter or looser than the other? Do you feel the stretch or the muscle work anywhere different? If there is a difference, that's going to kind of lead you, and my thought process, towards, okay, there's an imbalance in the hip region that needs to be corrected. And when you correct that imbalance, either in the upper body or the lower body, or both if need be, then that lateral pelvic tilt should even out, and then no, you would not need the insoles. So I know that's a really long answer to a really short answer, but hopefully that helps you. Let's see, Dallas asks, how to test, if you're basically how to test if you're properly hydrated. That's a good question. I always tell people, if you usually have to ask, you're probably dehydrated, which actually I've been talking an awful lot without a drink. So thank you, Dallas, for the reminder. As I spill on myself. So there's a couple ways you can tell. Probably the easiest and quickest is testing the elasticity of your skin, and you can do that a couple places. Some is just right here, the suppleness of your skin, if you kind of pinch and pick it up, does it spring back down really fast, or does it kind of stay up? If it stays up, you're dehydrated. If it springs back, your skin is nice and fluid. You can also do that, and I can't get my shin up here to, well, maybe I can do this. On their shin, where the bone is, if you press really hard, right, you'll get a little bit of indent. If that takes a kind of a long time to come back, you're dehydrated. If it comes back relatively quickly, then you're hydrated. But a good place to shoot for most people, is half your body weight in ounces of water. Sorry, I don't have the metric version of that. I got to work on that. But half your body weight in ounces of water spread out over the day. And for most people of average weight that sleep about 8 hours a day, again, these are averages, that comes out to be about 4 ounces every 30 minutes. So it's, it's like 2 gulps of water, every 30 minutes, which is pretty doable. Now, that said, if you're dehydrated and you rehydrate, for the first 1 to 2 weeks, yes, you will be going to the restroom more often, and that's because your body is dehydrated. And if you ever used a sponge, and I'm talking about a real sponge, not like the store-bought in the little plastic wrap thing, when you first run water on a sponge, it doesn't actually saturate, it actually repels water. And you have to hold it underwater for a while until it saturates, and then it could hold water. Well, that's basically what's going on with your body. It's so dehydrated that if you're drinking water, it's not able to absorb it, and so it actually repels it. It absorbs what it can, but it's not efficiently absorbing it, and so then you'll notice, yes, you have to go to the bathroom more often. But after that 1 or 2 weeks, it usually evens out, and your body could absorb it like that sponge and hold it more and put it to good use. So the other benefit too is, yes, you're going to the bathroom. Yes, I know it's kind of inconvenient, but think about, why do we go to the bathroom as human beings? Right? It's to get rid of toxins. So yes, I know, again, it's inconvenient, but you're just getting rid of more toxins, which is making you healthier. So, it's a happy inconvenience, right? All right, let's see what we got going here. There's a lot. I don't know if we'll get through all these. We'll have to do a part 2. All right. Okay, I lost my spot. Okay. What type of exercise do you do other than postural alignment therapy? Ooh, that's a good one. So I mix it up. Every few years, I change kind of what my overall goal is, and that's because I like to either master something or get like in the top 10, 20 percentile of most people in the world, and then I get bored with it. So like bodybuilding, I got really, really, really good. I mean, the only better I would have gotten is if I would have done steroids, and I just wasn't willing to go down that route. I had everything down to measured, how many grains of rice and measuring everything. So, again, I got to the best version of bodybuilding me that I could, and then I was like, okay, cool, I'm done with that. Before that, I actually used to be into running. Before I ever lifted weights, I played basketball, some football, soccer, stuff like that, but I love to run. Nothing really competitively over 2-3 miles. But when I was 16 and I was 150 pounds, can't even imagine, I was that small at one point, but I was 150 pounds, and I was running 4-minute miles. And again, I pretty much topped out for me at 4 minutes, which is great. And people are like, oh, you should go for Olympic record and all that. And people who understand running understand how hard it is to improve from 4 minutes to even just a few seconds less. And I think at the time the record was 3:47:58, something like that. And I was like, yeah, no, I'm fine with 4 minutes. I'm happy with that. So then I got into bodybuilding, and then I got into kind of more functional body weight resistance training. That's kind of what I do now. But right now I'm really having fun with just really minimalistic workouts. I'm actually having fun hacking and optimizing other areas of my life so that I don't have to work out as much. Don't get me wrong, I like to work out, I like to move, but at the same time, I'm really, really putting a lot of time and effort into creating content for you guys, getting this course done, doing these events, and it takes a lot of time and a lot of work. So I'm really, right now, only doing some body weight resistance exercises, including postural alignment therapy type exercises, maybe 30 minutes a day. I mean, it's really nothing compared to how I've worked out in the past in my life. I'm barely doing anything. But the great thing is is that I've actually, over the last year and a half, as I've changed my diet and changed other things, my breathing, my hydration, all this stuff, it becomes much more effortless to stay healthy and to stay lean. And that's what I'm really looking forward to sharing with you guys. Because it's kind of cool. Like I'd see some friends or family after a long time. They're like, "Oh, you've lost weight. You're even leaner." And like, "Man, what are you doing?" And I'm like, working out less and eating more fat. And they just can't comprehend it. They're like, "What?" So good question. Dun, 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 dun. And tell you what, it is 10:54. I'm gonna come back to these questions, and I will stay here until we get all these answered. So don't worry. But I'm gonna go back to the screen share. Let me know if you can see this. That's, I guess, my presentation noise I make. All right. Perfect. All right. Hopefully you guys can see the screen here. And I love Q&A. And I know usually it's, you guys asking me questions, but now I have some questions for you. And you can just leave your answers in the comment section. And I'm going to make sure. Can you guys see this? If you guys can just in the comment section, give a yes or something like that, that would be great. Look up here. Yep, cool, awesome. All right, so let me get back here. All right, so some questions I have for you is, with regards to pain, posture, and or performance, what is your #1 fear or frustration? Could be, again, it could have to do with breathing, hydration, sleep, stress, nutrition, movement, exercise, being consistent with doing the exercises, really anything. All right. And you can jot these down. You can email them later if you want. Whatever. I'm just curious to know your thoughts and your feelings. And what questions would you like me to answer? I don't mean right now, as far as in the right now for the Q&A, but what questions would you like me to answer? What topics would you like me to address on the site in upcoming posts? And if there's something that I've already done a post on, I will definitely give you a link for that. But there's a lot of times, I'll make posts because in the past 1 or 2 weeks, several of my clients or several people online have asked me the same question. Those things happen. Like, man, that's a third time in like 5 days I've heard that. All right, I'm going to do a post on it because again, I don't want it to just be, oh, well, I think this is a good idea, so I'm going to put it out there. I want to know what you guys want to hear about and make it for you. I always tell people I'm not really interested in making things that either I like or others like. I'm really only interested in making things that people love. So I really appreciate your help with that. And what can I do to add value to your life? What can we create together that will change the world? And some of you already helped me with that. If for those of you that don't know, I'm actually in the process of co-creating a course with some of my posture peeps, some of the posture guys and gals. And if you look back, probably the last 1 or 2 months, I actually said, okay, I have this idea for a course that I'm putting together, and I would like your thoughts. And I asked some of these questions. I asked some other ones as well. And, I've already started putting it together. And granted, it's still going to be, a few more months of putting together and asking, everybody their opinion on this and that and what they want included. And that's just because I want the course to be of the most value and the most service to everyone that it can be. So to all those of you who have already submitted suggestions, feedback, what they want to see in it, thank you very much. I really, really appreciate it. The other is, when I do a post, how do I engage all of you to virally spread the post like wildfire? What can I do to get you to rally around my social media posts, whether it be in Facebook or Twitter and YouTube or wherever it may be, so that we can get the maximum exposure for our community and help as many people as possible? Because again, it's just like I asked you at the beginning, is to like the video and to subscribe and all that. It's really so that I don't know how much about SEO and all that you guys know. Google, obviously the king of uh, data and search and all that, the more interaction they see, the more likes, the plus ones, the shares, the comments, and all that they see, they're going to rank it higher. And then so that way, when someone who isn't a part of the Posture Peeps family is looking for help with lower back pain or hip pain or digestive problems or sleep or whatever, they can find this information easier. And that's why. I would like you guys to share it. It's not for me. It's not for my ego. My mom's on here. She'll tell you, and it's her fault, that my ego is fine. It's intact, and you're not gonna. If you don't post, it doesn't make me sad or anything like that. Not for myself. I just want this to get out to the most people as possible and help the most people as possible. So if you have any ideas, things that you would like to see done, differently, or new things or other things taken out, just let me know. I'm totally here to serve you, which actually leads me to my last question, which is, what else can I do to better serve you? And that kind of goes into this other question, which is, how do you prefer to receive content? Now, some of you are signed up to receive my newsletter, and some of you maybe aren't. Some of you maybe follow on YouTube, others on Twitter, on Facebook, maybe some all of the above. Thank you very much, by the way. I appreciate it. And currently, right now, for those of you who don't know, I send out 2 video posts per week, and it's kind of a medium-long form because I talk a lot, I'm ranty, and I'm very passionate about what I do. And so I would say the videos on average are about 10 to 15 minutes, but they've been known to go as long as 20, 22 minutes. And I put them out on Tuesday and Friday. They're sent out at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And so I do that right now, and a lot of people will email me about them and things like that. But I also know that it is a lot of stuff to consume at once, as well as I do a video every day. And just by show of hands here, I'm going to get out of the screen for a second. Who here even knows about the daily viddies? Because that's something I was curious. I do see views on it, so I know a lot of people are looking at it. But how many people here see the daily viddies? And by video, if you don't know what I mean and you haven't seen it, they're short, usually 30 seconds or less. There's been 1 or 2 that have been over 30 seconds, but they're usually 30 seconds or less, short videos that I do, kind of tip of the days. Okay, and if you've seen those, let me know. If you haven't, let me know. Either way. Yeah, cool. Okay. So I put those out on a daily basis as well, and so I know with 2 medium long form, post a week, and then those daily, it could be a little overwhelming, and so I don't want to overwhelm you. I just want to make sure that I'm providing, some good content and everything. Granted, I know a 30-second video is easier to consume than a 15 or 20-minute video. So going into next month, I was thinking about changing up how I send out content for you guys, because I'm also going to be doing a monthly hangout, and they're going to be on those 7 foundations of health: breathing, hydration, sleep, nutrition, stress, movement, and exercise, over the next 7 months. And obviously that's going to take a lot of time to put together. I'm also going to be putting each of those modules together for the upcoming course. But I also thought, and you guys let me know what you think, is about changing how I send out content from the current model to, on Tuesday, sending out a medium long form, and then on Friday sending out basically a summary of the past 7 days of videos. So they're short little ones, little tips of the day and things like that. You can also still get them day by day if you follow me on YouTube or Twitter or something like that. But a summary and a little update. And that one wouldn't actually be posted on the blog. That one would be just for the Posture Peeps family only. So if you're following me, if you're signed up to receive the content, you would get it. It wouldn't be posted publicly on the blog. So let me know what you guys think about that. Oops, I pressed the wrong button. Sorry about that. And thank you for bearing with me here as I'm learning this new platform. And speaking of those like I said, those foundations of health, this is basically kind of a visual. And the reason I put it in a pyramid is not because it's a pyramid scheme, but this is, if you think about it, this is what we as humans need in order to survive. And again, from kind of a foundation up, a lot of people put so much emphasis on that top one, the exercise. And quite frankly, it's funny, even though that I'm in the, using exercise to improve people's posture, I have to say, and this may come as a shocker, is it's the least important thing. Not that it's not important, but compared to these 6 other foundations of health, it's what's going to move the needle the smallest amount. And that's simply because, breathing, right? The average human takes 22 to 30,000 breaths per day. Will you do any exercise that's 22 to 30,000 reps per day? Probably not. Not even like Ironman and some of those other people, that are extreme exercisers do that. And breathing is, what's the first thing you do when you're born? And what's the last thing you do right before you die? Is you breathe. Everything in between is life. So breathing is really important. And most people go like, yeah, I'm breathing, so what? Big whoop. But I'm talking about optimizing your breathing. Breathing different ways. One, to relax and go to sleep. Breathing another way to give you energy and make you more alert physically and cognitively. Breathing to help heal pain and inflammation. I don't just mean this in like a woo-woo type of spiritual way. I mean, if that works for you, awesome. I'm talking literally trackable, measurable, scientifically backed ways. So you want to make sure you have your breathing down, because again, it's what you do the most out of all these things. Then you want to make sure that your hydration is in check. And Dallas asked, like, how do you know if you're properly hydrated? And simply that's because, I don't have to go over all the stats with you, but, how much of our bodies are made out of water? How much is, our heart, our bones? I actually did a video, about water. If you go on my YouTube channel and search for water, there's a couple posts I've done on them, but there's also a couple short videos, and actually showed a bar graph of like how much your bones are made of water, how much of your lungs, how much of your muscle, how much of your brain. There's people I meet where, they start losing weight and they have plateaued, and it's because they're dehydrated, because they don't actually understand that the biochemical process for which your body uses to metabolize fat uses water, or they're not healing as fast as they would like from breaking a bone. Well, that's because that process uses water. Even bending your finger just a millimeter uses water to make the muscles in your finger to bend. Like, that takes water. And people who are saying, I'm inflexible, or I can't move, or the exercises feel only good for a little bit and then I'm stiff again. Well, that's because your meat, your muscle, is dehydrated. And what's dehydrated meat? It's beef jerky. You ever try to stretch beef jerky? It doesn't go anywhere, or it rips and tears. Like someone mentioned, earlier, is, does poor posture lead to more muscle, tendon, ligament rips and tears? Yeah, so does dehydration. So you want to make sure that your meat, your muscle, is hydrated properly, so it's more like a supple filet mignon instead of beef jerky. Okay. Then you want to focus on your sleep. And by sleep, I don't mean just how much you sleep, and even that and the quality of your sleep, but also the position you sleep in. Because you may be doing all kinds of exercise to improve your posture, but if you were sleeping in the wrong position for 6, 7, 8, if you're really lucky, someone who gets 9 or 10 hours of sleep, good for you. But if you're sleeping in the wrong position, maybe on your side and without the proper props and pillows, then that's going to undo all the work you've done. And maybe you spend an exercise doing work. And I would just hate to see you waste that time and effort on the exercise only to have it undone by sleeping in a suboptimal position. Okay? And obviously you need sleep to recover, and prepare yourself for the days and the stresses of not only mental stress, but physical stress. Then you look at nutrition, right? You've heard the saying before, this is nothing new, that you can't out-train a bad diet. And I know that's usually applied to weight loss and things like that. But, let's talk about it in terms of pain, posture, and performance. Well, I've seen, this is a common denominator, that most people are eating foods that, although they even think are quote-unquote healthy, that they're actually sensitive to. And by eating those foods, it's actually robbing their body's energy sources that could be put towards maintaining proper posture alignment from doing the exercises, and it's going towards fighting off those sensitivities. So again, if you go to theposture.com, put in nutrition or food or diet, you'll find a couple posts there I've done on it. I'm going to be doing more of it in the coming future. But again, you just want to make sure that you're not eating something that, again, is counterproductive to the exercise, to the breathing, to the hydration, to the sleep, and all your efforts towards, living a good quality of life, a pain-free and active life, without limitations. And then you got stress. Well, we all know that stress is like the #1 cause of all these sicknesses and diseases and illness and stuff like that. And there's a difference between eustress and de-stress. We need stress in order to survive. I mean, if you took stress like gravity away, we would just wither and die. That's why astronauts train so hard to go into space, not because it's hard to move around in space. It's really easy, but so that their body can survive the journey, and when they come back, they just don't step out of the space shuttle and their bones break and they just crumble and die. That's what they train for. So we need gravity, but so that type of stress is a good stress, right? There's other things that push us to grow. There's some stress that's enjoyable, right? Like sex. So there's eustress, which we need, but there's also distress that, one, we can eliminate, or two, we can optimize how our body reacts to it both physically and cognitively. So, if you have a toxic person in your life who is just sapping, all your good energy, yeah, you can just stay away from that person. But, or maybe you're in a job that isn't very fulfilling and you really, hate it. And I understand we all have to make money and stuff like that, but, maybe you can start doing something on the side, something that, you believe, hey, this is the reason I was put here on this earth, and I guarantee you that will more than make up for all that bad stress from a job you hate or dislike into that eustress, into doing something you love. And then there's other ways in the future I'm going to be sharing with you on how to kind of hack your response to stress, literally doing cognitive training so that maybe now, like me, if someone cuts you off in traffic, you're like, you son of a you know what, and actually turning that flight or fight response mechanism off, not for good, because we still need it, right? Like if a tiger was chasing or something, which that happens to me only on a weekly basis. I don't know about you, but to choose to whether to go into it or not. And that gets into a little bit more technical stuff, heart rate variability training and biofeedback and all that stuff, and I'll say that for another time. Then goes into movement and then exercise. Now, a lot of people put these last two together, movement and exercise. I think it's the same thing. It's not. Like I said, movement is to diet as exercise is to supplementation. I hope you are not eating supplements as your core diet and then supplementing with some broccoli or meat or something like that. Hopefully it's the other way around. You're having meat, veggies, and maybe some bulletproof coffee, which actually I'm going to take a sip of now. And then you are supplementing with maybe some vitamin D or C or calcium or magnesium. You don't want to make those the staples of your diet. That is good. You can't see me drinking the coffee, but just take my word for it, it's good. So, and those are the things that I'm including in the upcoming course. So my question for you is, this course is going to be how to optimize each of those things so that they synergistically work together to support your efforts in pain relief and in perfecting or improving, realigning your posture and optimizing your performance both physically and cognitively. So that said, which out of these, what is there, 6 choices here, do you think is the best name for a course like this? Because up until this point, for those of you that have seen me before, I just refer to it as the course. It's kind of getting annoying. I'd like to have a name for this. Now, the first one, I put a little red, whatever you call it, asterisk by, because that's my favorite, but I'm not married to it. So let me know which one you think would be good. I like Optimize Self. There's Foundations of Health, the Posture Lifestyle course. Some of these I know aren't that good. Some are bad. They're just ones that I've thought up. So let me know your thoughts. And if there's one that you think that would be better that you don't see here, definitely. I'm totally open to other ideas. I want to make this with you and for you, not just for myself. All right. So that said, It's your turn again. Let's go back to the Q&A. So let me get out of the share screen. Let's go back to the video. All right, and we're back. Cool. Awesome, awesome, Lisa. I'm glad you're liking the Hangout. I'm just looking at the comments now because for a while I couldn't see them. Not every day, but most days. Cool. And if I don't get to all your comments, everybody, I'm definitely going to be looking them over after the show, and I will, definitely either comment back to you or even email. If I have your email, I will definitely get back to you. I appreciate every single one of your comments and input. I love it, love it. Okay, so now the only the only struggle is finding where the heck we left off. Okay. I think I got it. Bum, bum, bum. With a blue coffee. Oh, here's a good one by Justin. Where would you like to see? Oh wait, dang it, I lost it. Sorry. What type of exercise do you do? Okay. Nate asked, where would you like to see your YouTube channel website someday? I think he's maybe asking about like where, in terms of growth and expansion. I think, Nate, that's what you're talking about. I mean, really, it's just I look to improve on it every day. I don't honestly have a set number, but the more the merrier, really, because it's just I want to get this message, this information out. And, those foundations of health, I was talking with someone, they said, well, is this your own theory? And I said, well, it's not really my theory. There's a lot of people, there's books, there's whole courses, people who have studied just breathing and just hydration and just, all the other ones. And so I go, it's nothing new that I'm looking at who's the best in those fields and basically aggregating together their content, their information, and kind of packaging it up in a nice little, how to take care of yourself, manual, optimize self course, for everyone, not only in the course but also in the free content that I put out as well. So that's, I just want to get the word out there to, as many people as possible. And if there's something that I don't know, I want to have the people and the resources to share with you and say, hey, here's here to go. Here's who to go talk to. Here's a site to go check out. Here's a resource. Here's a reference, to help you out. Because I definitely don't know it all, but I like to think that I know a lot of people who do, or I've learned a lot about a particular subject to the point where I could be not only dangerous but effective. So that said, is there one more by Nate after that? Delisa says I pronounced her name right. Awesome. Ooh, Justin Wall, who's a client/friend of mine, asks, with the bulletproof coffee, it doesn't matter what brand of coffee to use. I'm just using Folgers. It seems to work good. So Justin, yes, it does matter, but you can use what you have around. And if you guys haven't seen the post I've done on bulletproof coffee, it's pretty awesome. It was really fun for me to make. You might say it's a little on the long side, but again, that's just because I love it. Now, if you guys have never seen it, never heard about it from me or anyone else, what bulletproof coffee is it's basically coffee, butter, and MCT oil. And MCT oil is medium chain triglycerides. It's a saturated fat, but don't get scared. It's not going to stick to your hips or your stomach or something like that. The way it's molecularly structured, it's going to be used first and foremost as energy. And actually, it really helps. It's kind of like a precursor to ketones. So it goes straight to your head. And I don't mean that like in a zippy coffee way. You're just going to be able to focus really, really well. And I usually have a cup. I had it later today, but I usually have it around 7:30. And from then until like when I eat, which is usually sometime between noon and 2, and yes, it keeps me totally satisfied till then, I am like, if there was a superhero that had cognitive thinking, memorizing, and learning abilities, whatever that named superhero would be, that's what I feel like. Like literally I can have like a YouTube video going here, reading an article, and do these things. And even though I know it's more effective to do one thing than multitask, I can do it, and somehow I can actually learn it all. It's crazy. If you haven't tried it for yourself, definitely try it. Where the idea came from was actually a gentleman named Dave Asprey who runs a website called bulletproofexec.com, and I definitely recommend you check it out. But he even got the idea from, I believe, I don't know if they're monks in Tibetan or there's certain countries where basically they used I think it was yak butter in their tea, and so he just basically changed it to grass-fed butter in coffee, and then added the MCT oil. He's kind of a biohacker like me, and trying to figure out how to optimize certain areas of life, and he loves coffee. So he has actually made his own coffee. And I know some people may go, oh, he's trying to sell his own thing, and I'm like, well, that's fine too. We all got to make a buck. But he's actually gone through and optimized each of the processes of the system of growing coffee and gathering it and roasting it and everything, and made what he calls bulletproof coffee. And why that's better than a lot of other coffees is because it has less mycotoxins. And mycotoxins are, you can just Google mycotoxins, you'll see like all the nasty stuff and cancers and kind of side effects that they have. And unfortunately, a lot of coffee has mycotoxins. And granted, unfortunately, usually the cheaper ones have more of them. So, I would say Dave Asprey's is the best if you can get it, because it is easier to get if you're in America, and if you can afford it. It's not outrageously expensive. There's more expensive coffees in some stores with some green and white logos of a mermaid, I won't mention, that are not as good quality or, quite frankly, as good tasting. But if you're in a country, basically America, and you can afford it, definitely invest in the bulletproof coffee. If you can't, just get the best that you can. Usually single origin is better. There's less mycotoxins in single origin than blend. Get beans rather than grounds. If you really want to go all out, and by all out, it's a small investment, get an AeroPress and a Hario mini mill grinder. Oh my God. I can do a whole hangout about the coffee, so I'll stop there. But the benefits are astounding. Go watch the post, check it out. Damn it, Justin, you got me off all just on bulletproof coffee. I'm scrolling up here. Mom's like, oh, I'm in Saxe, Texas. I know, Mom. Okay. Nate says you don't believe these injuries were from bad posture. I'm not sure if he's talking about maybe his own injuries or mine. My own injuries, yes, I do now believe they were due to bad posture or poor posture, but also too, just back then I didn't know anything about posture. I was 19 and I'd already been training from 16, so I knew about proper exercise form and technique and things to look out for, but back then I didn't. In terms of posture alignment therapy and all that, like, I had no idea about any of this stuff. So looking back now, looking at like pictures of myself, I'm like, oh yeah, I was a freaking train wreck. I was built and like, muscular and everything, but posturally, I was like, man, it was just a matter of time until my shoulder and knee went, and then my lower back and hip. So yeah, I definitely think they were due to posture. Okay, let's see. Some reason the comments are repeating themselves. So I'm going to try to reload them. Pauline Connor removed. Lounge doctor. Oh. Delisa says she uses a lounge doctor pillow in bed Dahlia. Great for lymph tube. They have a list of benefits on their website. Awesome, Delisa. Thank you for that. Yeah, I have a lot of pelvic going on as well. Okay. Sorry, I'm just searching through the comments here. Contort, stretch, Delisa, and you commented on this, so hopefully you're okay with me sharing this, but it's a good point, and it's something I'll definitely refer out to someone else. Says every month, excuse me, apparently I need more water. Every month during PMS, my thoracic left rotated, gets inflamed and excruciating. I contort, stretch, make it worse, and have to take strong meds. My PT thinks it's just because of the hormones. Granted, part of it is probably due to the hormones, but there is also a structural problem. Granted, on the hormones and PMS-related things. Definitely not one of my stronger points. And I can't. I want to say it's like not there's Sergov, I think the hormone cure, and there's one other I can't think off the top of my head right now. Apparently, I need more bulletproof coffee, but there is another. So definitely get in contact with me. You can email me. Anybody can email me at justin@thepostureguy.com, and I'll get you that information. Who's really good with optimizing hormones, either through diet, supplementation, and other things. And I can definitely help you out with all the other stuff, especially biomechanics and posture. Okay, so thank you for that. That was a good comment. Oh, and my mom has one from my stepdad, because I think he's working today and he couldn't be there. So why do I get leg cramps daytime in the middle of the night sleeping? All right, cramps, and not the PMS cramps. We're talking, cramps, because obviously my stepdad doesn't have PMS. He's going to shoot me for that one. But anyway, so cramps, there's usually 3 causes. And one of them, surprisingly enough, can be a good cause. And you're like, what? Like, good cramps? What are you talking about? And by good, I mean sometimes people are doing exercises, postural exercises, and they cramp, and that's a muscle re-engaging. If you're doing movement and you go, oh, cramp, that's actually a good thing. It'll get less and less as that muscle, as that area of your body gets more and more functional. So that's a good thing. Number 2 is you cramp during just maybe sitting, or walking around or something like that. The most likely cause is you're dehydrated. So you want to increase your water intake, half your body weight of ounces of water. The third may be like you're laying down, you're sleeping, and you have a cramp, and you already know, hey, I'm properly hydrated. You may have a mineral and/or electrolyte imbalance, and it's usually the ratio between calcium and magnesium. And some people think, oh, I take one or the other. It's not that you don't have enough of one; it's the ratio. Okay, and you can definitely check, with your doctor on that, or a dietitian. A great test, I think, for that's pretty low cost and it's covered by most insurance, is called SpectraCell, and they can actually test your blood for vitamin, mineral, electrolyte imbalances or deficiencies. So I would definitely recommend that to anyone who is dehydrated. Now, I can't believe it, but it is already 11:26. So I'm going to, because I said I'm going to wrap this up. But I will definitely, again, either in the comments or reach out to you personally, answer whatever other questions are left. But I just have a few more things that I want to go with you, and like I said, then we're going to wrap it up. All right? So bear with me here as, oops, you're the first one here. I hit the wrong button. Let's go back to the share screen. Awesome. And all right. So, let's like that. We'll wrap this up. Now, I'm not sure exactly. I have an idea, but I'm not sure why you showed up today. It may be because you're tired of suffering from chronic pain. It may be because you want to make a change in your life so that you can live a better quality of life and be there for your loved ones. Or perhaps you're already relatively healthy and are just looking for ways to kind of fine-tune and optimize yourself. But really, the takeaway from all this, is that I want you to know that you are now a part of the Posture Peeps family. You are no longer alone in your pursuit of a pain-free and active life without limitations, and we are a team. Not just you and me, but you, me, and we, because that's what it's really all about, right? Is helping one another, and that's another reason why I encourage to share in the comment sections of each of my posts or on the YouTube videos or on Twitter and everything. It's so that, and as long as you're comfortable sharing certain things, and I understand certain things are private, then by all means email me or call me. But if you are willing to share, I would appreciate it, and I know everyone else would as well, because then they see our conversation in the comment section, they can chime in, or even they can just read it, and I guarantee you, because some people are like, oh, I don't want to ask this because maybe it's a dumb question, or maybe I feel like I'm the only one like that. I guarantee you, from doing this 12 plus years and working with thousands of people, you're not. There's maybe someone who's just scared to ask that question, or for whatever reason they just don't ask it, and you do, and you're going to be their hero. So and even just sharing with them, you can be their hero. So now that we know each other a little well, I want to ask you if you can do me just a little favor. Nothing big, nothing big. Just, help me change the world. That's it, right? And I'll guarantee you, or my part of it is I will create all the content and courses, provide the services, build and maintain the platform for us to host our ever-growing family on, and I'll wear all the pink shirts because, we all have crosses bear, and, I guess that'll be mine. I don't know what shirt I'll wear next time, actually. So really what I need your help with is just sharing the love, spreading the word, and passing it on, really, just helping grow the Posture Peeps family. And I call it a family. I think I originally referred to it as a community or an audience, but I don't really want an audience. I don't want people just listening to me. I don't want to, a community is a little better, but I honestly think of each of my clients and each of my subscribers and listeners and anybody who shares stuff, I think of them as extended family. I will treat you exactly how I will my sister or my mom or my brother, and that means, I will, if you need a pep talk, great. If you need me just to listen, I will. But also, I'm going to tell you what I think you need to hear, not tell you what you want to hear. I will, give you some tough love. And my mom, if she's still here watching, knows that's true. If you need a kick in the butt, I'm going to give you a kick in the butt. If you kind of need a slap upside the head, in terms of reality and things like that, I'll give you that. I'll do really whatever I need to help you, whether that's improve your posture, get out of pain, optimize your performance. I just need your help to, again, help spread that and grow our family, okay? So if you're on board, I would really, really appreciate it if you would. And you may have already done some of these things, and if you have, thank you very much. I'm so, so grateful. But if you haven't, go to thepostureguy.com and sign up to be a VIP posture guy or gal. On the homepage, there's a place that you can sign up at the top. Pretty much on any of the other pages, it's in the sidebar in the upper right-hand corner. And not only will you get the newsletter and those weekly summaries of the videos and stuff like that, some kind of VIP access stuff, but you're also going to get a downloadable, basically it's a zip file of several PDFs for 16 of the most chronic common pain symptoms, lower back pain, hip pain, knee pain, etc. All these things, and exercise routines to help relieve those symptoms, okay? And after that, if you can subscribe to the Posture Guy YouTube channel, great. If you already have done so, thank you very much. You can follow me on Twitter at the Posture Guy. Again, I'm kind of listing these in order of where I spend the most time. I'm definitely on my site. I'm on YouTube. I consume more YouTube than I do TV. I barely watch actually any TV, so you can find me on YouTube pretty easily. You can leave comments. You can message me direct, whatever you want. But I also spend a good amount of time. Recently, I haven't in preparing this on Twitter though. I love it. If you got something, like, hey, Justin, I'm here. You want to meet up? If I'm in your neck of the woods, that would be great. If you got an answer that I could ideally answer or send you a link to in 160 characters or less, I love Twitter. It's fast, it's basic, kind of like amongst friends texting, and like I said, you guys are family. So tweet me up. And if you can add me to your circles on Google+, I know Google+ isn't as big as Facebook, and you can follow me on Facebook too, go on Facebook. The only reason I didn't add it here is I'm actually transitioning. I'm not sure 100%, but I like Google+, and I like how it integrates with Hangouts and the features that just Facebook doesn't have. And I may in the future put together a Facebook group. I have a Facebook page right now, but with changes, if you're not familiar, Facebook is always changing, and they're making it actually harder for smaller businesses and blogs and stuff to be seen. It's not to say that I'm abandoning Facebook. I'm still going to be on there, so you can follow me on the page, the Posture Guy page. You can friend me personally, that's fine too, and I'll definitely be more than happy to communicate and interact with you on Facebook. I'm just putting a little bit more of my efforts towards Google+ right now, okay? So that's the only reason why you don't see Facebook up there. So I just wanted to say welcome to the Posture Peeps family. I am so happy to have you here, and just so you don't think I'm, you're like, wait a second, you forgot that list. If you can email me at justin@thepostureguy.com, pretty easy to remember, right? And just in the title somewhere, say send or ask me about the kick butt self-optimization apps, I will send it directly to you, okay? Because like I said, I don't have this right now available anywhere else on the site, so I'm going to send it personally to you in a personal email, okay? So again, my email is justin@theposhaguy.com, and I know you're just going to love those apps. One in particular, before I go, because I know we're already past time just a little bit, that I definitely would like for you to check out is called 2 Grand. The word 2 Grand, not the number. And it is a great food journaling app. And if you're cringing right now, I totally hear you. I usually hate those things. This is the only one I like, and it's because it's photo-based. It's slightly creative, kind of is an outlet for people who are creative. You can track your food, your activity through pictures, and the way that they put it together, it is totally seamless. It's really fast. Literally, I don't spend more than 3 minutes a day putting the logging in my meals, and you can actually follow people on there who have similar fitness goals, whether it be weight loss or muscle gain or perfect posture or just optimized health, longevity. So if you join it, and it's actually for iOS and Android, so whichever one you have, it's fine. Sign up for 2 Grand, and then you can actually search for me. The Posture Guy is my username, and you can follow me, and I can follow you back. And that way, because some people ask me like, well, do you think what I'm eating has something to do with it? I'm like, well, I don't know what you're eating. But on there, I can actually look back and be like, oh, look, I can see visually pictures of what you ate, and then I can obviously give you a little better advice rather than just a kind of shot in the dark or a guess. All right, so it's a really, really cool app. I would love for you to join me on that. There's a lot of others on the list, but that's just one that I'm really, really excited about right now. So check it out. Follow me on there as well as everywhere else, and I just wanted to say thank you all so very much for joining me today. I really appreciate your time. I know that's like the most valuable resource any of us have. So thank you very much. And I know money is a valuable resource, but I think time is much more valuable because you can always make money back, but you can't really make time back. At least, yeah, we don't have that technology. And this is something just off the top of my head. Again, I told you this is not, today was really just about growing the family and helping you guys. But something, literally, this is just off the top of my head, not planned at all, that I wanted to do for anybody who wants to take me up on this, and you can email me if you're interested, is I do actually have one spot each open for an online therapy client and a Skype therapy. If you want to sign up, you can just go to theposhaguy.com/online-therapy or Skype therapy. You can find it on the website. It's pretty easy. If you do want to do that, I will actually include in there a complimentary additional session which you can use yourself, or like if you want to share the love and spread the word, you can share it with your friends, family, loved ones. You can gift it. Okay. So again, if you're interested, great. If not, that is totally fine as well. I hope you enjoy all the free content that I put out daily. I love you all. I'm so thankful for you, so grateful to be able to put this information out for you, and that from the comments and everything, it sounds like everybody's really benefiting from it. So that's awesome. You guys are so awesome, and I just wanted to finish with a internet high five. So everybody, put your hand on the screen or close to it if you don't want to mess up your screen. Okay, and let's bring it in for one high five. All right. Cool. And now you're slapping me in the face because I just switched over to me. So anyways, thank you very much for joining me. I can't wait to do this again. I'm so looking forward to looking through the contents and answering all your other questions that I didn't get to today, and just continue to interact and grow our family. Absolutely love it. So thank you guys again. I know I've said that like a million times, but I'm just so grateful, and I look forward to seeing you inside the next video. Until then, take care and keep moving.